everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Cal, and I have an interesting video for you today. It wasn't that long ago, over on our Twitter page, at SmackDrawPod, I posed a question to you guys. I said, AEW has their four pillars in MJF, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, and Sammy Guevara. And I said, strictly referring to the current roster, who would your four pillars be of WWE? And if you're not sure what the four pillars is, essentially it's WWE's youngest, brightest stars that are looked to be the big stars in the company about 5 years down the road and carried on their back into the future once the current guard, you know, that's of like Kenny Omega, Christian, and them all retire and move on, do their own thing, you know, and they become like part-timers or something. Some of them already on their way. And anyways, yeah, so I said to you guys, I said WWE had its four pillars looking strictly now in 2021, because honestly with WWE, they have such an extensive history that, you know, you could pick any era and pick four pillars from then. Like, you know, for instance, the early Attitude Era, or right before it, you know, you could have picked, you know, a whole bunch of guys: Triple H, Austin, The Rock, Undertaker, Mankind, you know, and those guys carried the company for about 8+ years. So I said, who on the current crop in the roster do you think could be the four pillars? And you guys let me know, and I have a lot of interesting ones here. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to read off the names that didn't come up as frequently and kind of go over my thoughts on them. And then I will get into the top four that got the most votes. And we'll say that's the official four pillars of WWE. I didn't really set any guidelines. I loosely suggested main roster and to be under 30. However, you know, there's a lot of exceptions to those rules. You know, some guys and gals might be a little over 30, but could probably still go another 10+ years, hence still kind of being the pillar. You know, what I was kind of trying to avoid here is people that you think are probably going to retire in the next 5 years or not be on a regular basis. Kind of like what we're seeing with Sasha Banks, and Roman Reigns has teased that, you know, he's may not have that much longer as a full-timer. He's probably gonna go off to Hollywood and make a bunch of movies. With that being said, I'm not going to discriminate from any answers, and afterwards I'm going to give you guys a shout out. Everybody that replied in the chat, there's a whole bunch of you, so I'll read it off, do a graphic, I'll figure it out, but I'll give you guys a shout out anyways. So with that being said, we have a lot here. We have Solo Sikoa, who, let me see here, I believe is the only person I'm not too familiar with. I want to say that's the third Uso, and yeah, that's exactly who that is. It is the third Uso, and by God, yeah, he looks just like his cousins, Roman. I absolutely can see that guy being a bright star in the future, especially he's got all the potential in the world and great genes. Other names that we saw: Joe Gacy, Tony D'Angelo, Harland, Grayson Waller, and Zion Quinn. A lot of the current crop of NXT 2.0. Granted, time will tell with them. I'm not too sure if necessarily they're gonna an obvious pick for the pillars, just because they are definitely, you know, along the lines of like they're essentially rookies, and we don't even know, you know, where their character direction is going to go, or if, you know, wrestling is even going to be for them in the next 2 to 3 years, seeing as NXT 2.0 is still very much a very fresh product, with names trying to establish themselves. Other names that got brought up, you know, granted, I said may have not fixed the mold, but a lot of you guys still think maybe they're going to take it a while longer. Talking about Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch. The Miz is kind of a hard one to go with. I saw one of you vote for The Miz. I feel like he's at the twilight of his career. However, RN, my co-host over at on the Rewind, he believes The Miz has got another like solid 6+ years in him. So we'll see. We got Finn Balor, another odd choice. Finn feels very much like we might be experiencing the last full-time run of his. Maybe his next contract, he'll probably go to a part-timer. The man, I believe, is in his 40s at this point. Other names, you got Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. I think those are great picks. Honestly, all the potential in the world. I do have to say this, there is a caveat. You guys are probably saying like, but Kyle, you never know who WWE is going to release 2 weeks from now. I understand that. I'm trying to look at this as an optimist that a lot of the crop here has survived the major portion of the cuts, and they're ready to start investing in these young guys and gals. So another good name that I saw was Omos. I forgot that Omos really, I believe, is giant of a man as he is. He's still pretty young, I believe. Omos is only 27 years old. My gosh, what a scary looking baby. He is a giant man. I did not expect him to be that young, to be fair. Sami Zayn, I'm not gonna lie. Sami Zayn, I probably out of that entire first part of this list disagree with the most because I really don't see him being in the WWE. Now, a couple names that got a few extra votes. Ilya Dragunov, fantastic vote. I absolutely believe man's got all the talent in the world. A lot of us here in the States just got to experience him, you know, probably for the first time, because not many of us are watching NXT UK, where he's currently been killing it. But of course, he had that awesome match at TakeOver not too long ago with Walter. And yeah, is slam bang. I absolutely see that young man is unbelievably talented. Liv Morgan came up. She's very young. They're giving her a push. She does feel like she's just currently waiting for the Four Horsewomen to kind of run the rest of their course. Becky Lynch, you know, she's currently just lost to Becky Lynch via a roll-up, and kind of like a cheat to win. However, Becky Lynch is definitely got to drop the belt to Bianca Belair. So she really can't do much about that for a while. Maybe if she gets traded over to SmackDown, she'll feud with Charlotte. She had a little program with Charlotte not too long ago. And yeah, she might be able to get the belt off her. Either way, it does feel like once the Four Horsewomen are out of the way, Liv Morgan will be on deck. It's just a shame we don't have like a mid-card title, you know, for the women's division, because I couldn't think of a better name to hold that belt right now than Liv Morgan. Dominic Mysterio came up. I like that. I really do. Me and RN have sung his praises, that he seems to be growing in-ring wise at an incredible rate. He has a very smooth style, which is a lot of fun to watch. He is innovative. He has already pulled out several moves unique to just him to give him his own unique flavor with his in-ring style. He's got that fresh baby face. You know, he's a Mysterio. Guy's got all the upside in the world. Yeah, I could very much see him as a pillar in the WWE. Matt Riddle was another name that came up. I agree. Matt, not the youngest guy, but he's also not old. A ton of charisma. Is a very likable guy to a lot of fans. And yeah, I could definitely see Matt Riddle, especially seeing as he looks poised to be a future champion one day. Getting to the people that got more votes. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, kind of saw this coming. I would say that they were, by the definition that I'm trying to use, they were more or less pillars back when they were in the Shield. Just because you saw all the potential, but it wasn't really tapped on. None of them, you know, before they had the world titles. But obviously, they're currently carrying the company very much so. And so, yeah, obviously, they're current pillars. Carmelo Hayes also got a decent amount of votes, too. NXT North American Champion. Yeah, fantastic guy. Absolutely see that. I see him with a longer future, obviously, being younger and more fresh in his career. Damian Priest got a good handful of votes. I think it's hilarious because if I recall correctly, Damian Priest is almost 40, but the thing about it is fresh onto the WWE scene. Would not surprise me if we get 6-7 years out of this man. Yeah, he's 39. He'll be 40 in September. But he did get a lot of votes because even though, you know, he is 39, I think he might be the oldest guy voted for here. He's definitely the oldest person on this list. He's so fresh and new to the main roster that you do feel like he's got a ton of potential, and they're already going through a new character arc with him, this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing that he's got going on. He's also our current U.S. champion. Yeah, the guy's got a ton of potential, so I see him being a very big exception to this rule. Last up, before we actually get into the official four, is Montez Ford, just on the outside of the four pillars of WWE. I personally have said that I don't see it. However, I'm still very much entertained by the man, and I cannot deny he's got a ton of charisma. He does capture, the spotlight goes to him whenever he's out there. I don't know. I feel like I've just been missing something with the man. It's just my personal take, but nonetheless, I'm not surprised to see him so high up on the list. Now, with that being said, we'll get into the official four pillars. I'm going to rank them from the least amount of votes to the most voted, kicking off with the only current member of NXT and rookie, Braun Breaker. So yeah, I could see this. It's crazy how fresh he is, but how big of an impact. He obviously is making the largest splash out of the current NXT 2.0 roster. He's got all that Steiner blood in him, not to mention he sounds like a Steiner, looks like a Steiner. Apparently it was his idea to use the Braun Breaker name to try and get away from that. However, they have obviously played still into the fact that he's related without directly saying it. RN goes on record and says Braun is not ready, but that's the thing about the pillars though, is they're not necessarily ready at the moment to carry the company. It's in the future, and he's still a very young guy, but sounds like a prime Big Papa Pump, so at this point he already sounds mainstream. He's got a ton of upside. After that, Rhea Ripley. This I love to see. Rhea Ripley, I'm so happy you guys voted her up here. Rhea is such a fresh face, but a great look. She's got a great in-ring talent. Her mic skills might leave a little to be desired. However, she's got all the time in the world to develop those. And yeah, I think pure definition of a pillar, I could see Rhea Ripley for sure. And in second place, Austin Theory. Now this one, not that surprised. He is currently embroiled in this Vince McMahon, a kind of like pet project story. He's backstage with Vince every week. They have some really weird, awkward dynamic between them, but it's like you have the boss's seal of approval right out the gate, and then not to mention, he's charismatic as hell. My co-host RN once again has told me about, him being early 20s, in his teens even, having grown men throw full cups of beer on him in the indies, literally being able to draw that kind of heat, so I can definitely see Theory, huge personality, and they're honestly, out of this entire list, maybe looks like the company's behind him the most, with the exception of our number one probably, which should come to no surprise, Bianca Belair. She blew it out the water, by the way, you guys. She blew it out the water with her votes. The pure definition of a fresh face, dominant athlete, like the total package is Bianca Belair. From mic skills, in-ring talent. Currently, she has this little mini feud going with Doudrop, and recently on Raw, she teased the KOD. The crowd was 100% sunk into it. They're going to erupt when she actually does hit the KOD. She has just got the most upside. I'm very happy to see that. So that is the official WWE Four Pillars. What do you guys think? Tell me, leave it in the comments. Who would you have picked for the Four Pillars? While you're at it, why don't you hit us up on Twitter, myself at the Kai Tai Show, and hit up the show's page at SmackDraw Pod. We usually release a pinned tweet every week posing a question. Feel free to give your thoughts and answers on those, and we'll try to feature them on upcoming episodes of The Rewind, or maybe we'll do little short bits like this. Like always, you guys, thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and like always, until next time, y'all have a good one.